Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, with your blessings, with the blessings of my Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, and all the Vaishnavas, Shri Radha Madhava, Panchatattva, Lord Nrsimhadev, I started this series of daily readings, and I thought to start it with the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of the Lord, and the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And I want to do it in such a way that I would read from Krishna book, which is the summary study of the 10th canto, which Srila Prabhupada early on in the beginning of Hare Krishna movement and the beginning of ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada knew that he needed to leave the essence of his life work, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, in case he would not be able to get to it. And so he left the 10th canto in the summary study as the, at the flowing text without Sanskrit verses and commentaries as he did as separate as the whole Srimad Bhagavatam goes, right? You have a Sanskrit verse, transliteration, then you have translation, then you have commentary. Krishna book is basically all of this merged together, only English text is there, and of course Srila Prabhupada, whenever he wants to quote the verses in his commentary, then he does so. So the structure of how I want to do it for your pleasure is that I would read the Krishna book first, the chapter of the Krishna book, then we will go and we will read the 10th canto, which Srila Prabhupada translated and commented on up to 14th chapter before he left this world, and then afterwards it was finished by his loving, dedicated disciples, primarily Gopiparanandana Prabhu and His Holiness Hridayananda Das Goswami, and of course a lot of their commentaries, just a fusion of the commentaries of the acharyas. So what we do also is that we read the commentaries of the acharyas as well. Luckily we have the commentaries of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Jiva Goswami, Srila Sanatana Goswami. So, and on top of it, we would also read two books in parallel with that, which is Ananda Vrindavan Champu by Srila Krishna Kavikarnapur and Gopal Champu by Srila Jiva Goswami, which are basically dealing with the Leelas, which we they go also parallel to the 10th canto. So we will be reading those as well when it is corresponding to a particular chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll have, so to say, 360-degree view on the pastimes. Of course, there are also Puranas where you can have more details on a particular pastimes of the Lord, but we'll not go there at least at this time. So I hope you'll find this refreshing. I hope it will be inspiration for your Shravanam, something which will allow you to be absorbed in Krishna and his pastimes on a daily basis. That's why I'm doing it myself. I wanted to read myself, but I thought, why not do it that I could listen to the recordings when I want some nectar, not because it is related or read by me, but because of the content which is left by Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas. And so I could listen to it as an audio book, but please forgive me. I will also have some thoughts along the way. Hopefully it will not be annoying, hopefully it will be helpful, but I'll be happy for your feedback. So this YouTube channel I'm starting specifically for dedicated to this project. And yeah, if you find it enjoyable and if you find it helpful for your spiritual life and for your spiritual nourishment, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, thank you very much for watching or hearing. I guess most will be, there's nothing really to watch, it's just my face in the camera, but you know, in YouTube you need to have some video anyway, so why not do that? But you know, and I'm lazy to create the whole video kind of background to the reading. I'm sorry, that's looks like a project which would be too much to handle, but what I can do, that I'm doing, and hopefully it will be pleasing. Hare Krishna. So I'll start with Krishna book and with a dedication to, you know, dedication and so on, you know, introduction, the words of George Harrison, who donated under very interesting circumstances, which we might get into it for this Krishna book. In any case, let's start. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashitya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Rama Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is a dedication, Krishna book. To my father, Gaur Mahande, a pure devotee of Krishna, who raised me as Krishna conscious child from the beginning of my life. In my boyhood ages, he instructed me how to play the mridanga. He gave me Radha Krishna Vigraha to worship, and he gave me Jagannath Ratha to duly observe the festival as my childhood play. He was kind to me, and I imbibed from him the ideas that later on solidified by my spiritual master, the Eternal Father, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So Srila Prabhupada dedicates this book to his father and to his guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And now the introduction from George Harrison. From Apple, not the company Apple, it was recording studio Apple, where Beatles were recording. Everybody is looking for Krishna. Some don't realize that they are, but they are. Krishna is God, the source of all that exists, the cause of all that is, was, or ever will be. As God is unlimited, he has many names. Allah, Buddha, Jehovah, Rama, all are Krishna, all are one. God is not abstract. He has both impersonal and the personal aspects to his personality, which is supreme, eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. As a single drop of water has the same qualities as an ocean of water, so has our consciousness the qualities of God consciousness. But through our identification and attachment with material energy, physical body senses physical body, sense pleasures, material possessions, ego, etc., our true transcendental consciousness has been polluted, and like a dirty mirror, it is unable to reflect a pure image. With many lives, our association with temporary has grown. This impermanent body, a bag of bones and flesh, is mistaken for our true self, and we have accepted this temporary condition to be final. Through all ages, great saints have remained as living proof that the non-temporary, permanent state of God consciousness can be revived in all living souls. Each soul is potentially divine. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, steady in self, being free from all material contamination, the yogi achieves the highest perfectional stage of happiness, in touch with the Supreme Consciousness. Yoga, the scientific method for God's self-realization, is the process by which we purify our consciousness, stop further pollution, and arrive at the state of perfection, full knowledge and bliss. If there's God, I want to see Him. It's pointless to believe in something without proof. Krishna consciousness and meditation are methods where you can actually obtain God perception. You can actually see God and hear Him, play with Him. It might sound crazy, but He is actually there, actually with you. There are many yogic paths, Raja, Jnana, Hatha, Kriya, Karma, Bhakti, which are all acclaimed by the masters of each method. Swami Bhaktivedanta is, as his title says, a Bhakti yogi, following the path of devotion, by serving God through each thought, word, and deed. And by chanting his holy names, the devotee quickly develops God consciousness by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. One inevitably arrives at Krishna consciousness. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. I request that you take advantage of this book, Krishna, and enter into its understanding. I also request that you make an appointment to meet your God now through the self-liberated process of yoga, in parentheses, union, and give peace a chance. George Harrison, Apple Corps Limited, 3 Savile Road, London W1, Gerard 27723993, Telex, Epcor, London. So this is the foreword of George Harrison, and if you read the book of Shyamasundara Prabhu, I think it's called Chasing Rhinos with the Swami, or Chasing Rhinos with Swami, he describes the whole situation, including how this foreword was written, and it was actually written by Shyamasundara Prabhu, or pre-written, and given to George Harrison for approval. I guess he just tweaked it to his liking, and that's what we have. And he donated $19,000 to print this book, Krishna book. And the story goes that Srila Prabhupada, as devotees, befriended George Harrison, Shyamasundara Prabhu, and Mukunda Prabhu at this time, who is Mukunda Goswami now. They made a point to never ask George Harrison for anything. Whatever he offered, of course, they would accept, but they would not particularly ask, because everybody, he was the most celebrated, one of the most celebrated musicians in the world. Beatles were the most celebrated band in the world at that time. So obviously everybody wanted something from them. So devotees made a point that they would not be like others. They just wanted to give Krishna to them and don't ask anything in return. But then the due date of printing Krishna book was at hand, and Srila Prabhupada said to Shyamasundara Prabhu, please ask George to donate for the book. And Shyamasundara Prabhu basically was about to disobey his guru or at least he tried to reason with Prabhupada, said, Srila Prabhupada, we never ask him, he will freak out, and he will lose trust, and he will think that we are, as everybody, just want something from him. Of course, I'm just freestyle relating the story, more or less. The gist of it is like that. And Srila Prabhupada said, don't worry, just ask, Krishna will take care. So there was a dinner party, and at the end of this dinner party, I think it was in George's house, and then somehow Shyamasundar Prabhu was very, very uncomfortable and nervous, and he knew he needed to ask this question because Srila Prabhupada ordered him to, but he didn't really want to do it, and it was like a tug of war inside. He was in conflict with himself. He needed to fulfill his guru's order. At the same time, he knew that it would be very, very awkward situation. In any case, in the course of conversation, he said that Prabhupada wants you to donate 90,000. Or he said he wanted to donate for the book, something like that, and then George became like very apprehensive. His mood changed, and he said, how much is that, something like that, and he said it's 19,000. And then George, again, his face became very different, like a little bit disappointment and so on, so on. But then suddenly I think the lightning strike, and the light in the house went off, full darkness. And then George started laughing, and he said, well, one cannot argue with that. So he said, this is a sign, I need to give the money. And yeah, so he have. And then, of course, once the book was printed, they wanted that he do the foreword. And this is the foreword. This is the, not really foreword, but this, yeah, his foreword, his introduction, his remarks about the book, which I assume he hasn't read, at least at this point. Anyway, moving forward. I don't really know how long we will be doing every day, but I'm pretty sure we will not be doing a chapter a day or something like that. We'll just go with the flow. I hope it's okay. So Preface, and Preface is written by Srila Prabhupada. Okay. Nivrita tarsai rupagiyamanat bhavaushad shrota mano bhiramat kautama shloka gunanuvadat puman virajeta vinapashugna. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.4. In the Western countries, when someone sees the cover of a book like Krishna, he immediately asks, who is Krishna? Who is the girl with Krishna, etc. The immediate answer is that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How is that? Because he conforms in exact details to description of the Supreme Being, the Godhead. In other words, Krishna is the Godhead because he is all attractive. Outside the principles of all attraction, there is no meaning to the word Godhead. How is that one can be all attractive? First of all, if one is very wealthy, he has great riches, he becomes attractive to people in general. Similarly, if someone is very powerful, he also becomes attractive. And if someone is very famous, he also becomes attractive. And if someone is very beautiful or wise or unattached to all kinds of possessions, he also becomes attractive. So from practical experience, we can observe that one is attractive due to 1, wealth, 2, power, 3, fame, 4, beauty, 5, wisdom, and 6, renunciation. One who is in possession of all 6 of these opulences at the same time, who possesses them to An ultimate degree is understood to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These opulences of the Godhead are delineated by Parashara Muni, a great Vedic authority. Again, 6 opulences: wealth, power, fame, beauty, wisdom, and renunciation. Right, that's why Krishna is called Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the one who is fully endowed with these 6 opulences to the utmost extent. We have seen many rich persons, many powerful persons, many famous persons, many beautiful persons, many learned and scholarly persons, and persons in the renounced order of life and attached to material possession, but we have never seen any one person who is unlimitedly and simultaneously wealthy, powerful, famous, beautiful, wise, and unattached like Krishna in the history of humanity. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is a very strong argument, right? Right off the bat, Krishna is endowed with all of those qualities to the utmost degree. If you can think of anybody who can combine some of those qualities to some degree, it's a very attractive personality, but it's nothing compared to the divine personality. So he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a historical person who appeared on this earth 5,000 years ago. He stayed on this earth for 125 years and played exactly like a human being, but his activities were unparalleled. So although he stayed 125,000 years, he never aged beyond the age of 16, 17 years old. He was always blossoming-induced. That's that. From the very moment of his appearance to the moment of his disappearance, every one of his activities is unparalleled in the history of the world, and therefore anyone who knows what we mean by Godhead will accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one is equal to Godhead, and no one is greater than him. That is the import of the familiar saying, God is great. There are various classes of men in the world who speak of God in different ways, but according to the Vedic literatures, according to the great acharyas, the authorized persons versed in knowledge of God in all ages, like acharyas Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhava, Vishnu Swami, Lord Chaitanya, and all their followers by disciplic succession, all unanimously agree that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As far as we, the followers of Vedic civilization, are concerned, we accept the Vedic history of the whole universe, which consists of different planetary systems called Svargaloka, or the higher planetary system, Martyaloka, or the intermediary planetary system, and Patalaloka, or the lower planetary system. The modern historians of this earth cannot supply historical evidences of events that occurred before 5,000 years ago, and the anthropologists say that 40,000 years ago, Homo sapiens had not appeared on this planet because evolution had not reached that point. But Vedic histories such as Puranas and Mahabharata relate human histories which extend millions and billions of years into the past. So obviously the anthropologists, scientists have their theories, but those theories are based on some facts that they kind of tie together, and of course they remain theories, where the Vedic literature is the evidence of what was happening and that how it was. We don't need to theorize on what has been happening or had been happening many years ago. We have Mahabharata, we have Puranas, and we know exactly what was happening. That's the beauty of the knowledge which descends from the higher source, and we don't need to speculate. For example, from these literatures, we are given the histories of Krishna's appearances and disappearances millions and billions years ago. In the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna that both he and Arjuna had had many births before, and that he, Krishna, could remember all of them, but Arjuna could not. This illustrates the difference between their knowledge of Krishna and that of Arjuna. Arjuna might have been a very great warrior, well-cultured member of the Kuru dynasty, but after all, he was an ordinary human being, whereas Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a possessor of unlimited knowledge. Because he possesses unlimited knowledge, Krishna has a memory that is boundless. Krishna's knowledge is so perfect that he remembers all the incidents of his appearance some millions and billions of years in the past, but Arjuna's memory and knowledge are limited by time and space, for he is an ordinary human being. In the fourth chapter, Krishna states that he can remember instructions, the lessons of Bhagavad Gita, instructing the lessons of Bhagavad Gita some millions years ago to the sun god Vivasvan. Nowadays, it is the fashion of the atheistic class of men to try to become God by following some mystic process. Generally, the atheists claim to be God by dint of their imagination or their meditational prowess. Krishna is not that kind of God. He does not become God by manufacturing some mystic process of meditation, nor does he become God by undergoing the severe austerities of mystic yoga exercises. Properly speaking, he never becomes God because he is Godhead in all circumstances. Recently, I was watching this talk of Sadhguru, right? TED Talk, where he kind of reveals how he became Sadhguru, and then he was meditating, he was sitting on the stone, then he felt that he was in the body, and then he was one with everything, and blah, blah, all this kind of... I mean, obviously, it's an experience, right? So person has experience which is beyond normal experience. It's very commendable. But then person thinks that he figured everything out. That he has some extraordinary experience, some maybe extraordinary bliss comparing to what others people have, and we don't deny that, right? So there is higher stages of consciousness which are more pleasurable than the pleasures of material world, but they are far, far, far away from transcendental consciousness. Unfortunately, people who has rare persons who has this kind of experience, they become proud and they think they figure things out, they figure the world out. It's like, you have you have a microbe who floats in a pile of dirt, and he suddenly realized the whole universe. It's just such an illusion, right? He thinks what he thinks is the truth, so he speculates, and we all can speculate, right? I don't know, anybody who tried some psychedelic drugs or any kind of those substances, they have this experience, right? Oh, I realize I become God, and I see things much brighter, and I understand things much better than everybody else, and everybody is just an illusion. And this is, as Srila Prabhupada says, this is a last snare of illusion to think that you are God. Okay, you want to think like that? Okay, you want to think you figure everything out? No problem. Think like this, and you rob yourself of the chance to actually inquire from self-realized soul, who is Guru, or in a disciplic succession, in submissive way, and actually receive knowledge which come down in disciplic succession. We call it parampara system, and really accept the truth which is beyond any ability of mind, intelligence, or senses to comprehend or to discover on their own. You need really God's grace and to get it. And when one gets God's grace, one becomes very humble and understands, as I think Socrates said, right? I know that I know nothing. So finally understand. The humility comes and says, oh, the only thing I know, that this is so much bigger than my ability to understand, that I just my hands up, and I'm not really able to understand it. Anyway, I think that would be it for today. We'll continue tomorrow, or the next opportunity. Maybe I'm jumping ahead of myself. I really want to do it every day, but I'm also need to be realistic. So as much as I can do it with your blessings, I can do it. Thank you very much. Again, if you like this kind of content, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I hope to be able to carry on this service, which brings pleasure to my heart, that I can just read Srila Prabhupada's books and talk about them. That's definitely something which is perfection of life. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.